Well, hello everyone and welcome back after what seems like forever and a day to my snowy Viking village. A project that has grown from a single longhouse into an entire frozen kingdom. Over the last few years, millions of you guys have built along with me piece by piece, but today I've brought everything together into one ultimate masterclass. From the massive Stave Church to the smallest sea hut, this is every step you need to build this entire village in your own world in one single video guide. Now, a little heads up, we are going back in time today, so some of these tutorials were made when I was first starting out on YouTube, so might sound a little different or a little less confident in the earlier sections, but hopefully my radio voice is a little less dreary now. But let's stop talking and start building, and first up, the heart of the village, the Viking Longhouse. So our longhouse is going to be positioned in the centre of our village and will be home to the leader of the village and his family. These traditional buildings were used to house men, women, children and even animals, so you can imagine it'd be a little bit smelly in there. We're going to add a long fire pit into our longhouse and an air vent in the roof to let all of that smoke out. If anyone has any historical information about the Vikings that would help us build this realistic village, then please let me know down below, because my Viking knowledge is very limited. So let's get building our traditional Viking longhouse. So what materials are we going to need to build our longhouse? Well, we're going to need some stripped spruce logs, some stripped dark oak logs, some spruce planks, some spruce and dark oak stairs, some dark oak slabs, some cobblestone, some regular stone, some cobblestone stairs, regular stone stairs, cobble and regular slabs, dark oak fences and gates, spruce doors and trapdoors, campfires, chains, lanterns and some torches. Quite a lot of stuff, but not that hard to acquire. So the dimensions of our longhouse are going to be 15 by 25 blocks, so clear out a big area before you start. Now, for the first step, we're going to fill in our 15 by 25 block area with some cobblestone. This will give it a nice strong base for our wooden structure to stand on. Once you've filled in the whole thing with cobblestone, just replace random blocks with some regular stone to give it that nice textured look. We want it to look a bit rough and a bit worn. We'll add a long fire pit into the floor later on in the video. Next, we're going to knock out the front two corner blocks from our stone base and then knock out every fourth block up the sides of the base too until we reach the back two corners. Then do the same on the two short sides like so. In the gaps up the long sides of the base, we're just going to grab our dark oak stripped logs and we're going to build a 3 block high column in each of the holes like so. Then in the front and back two gaps we're going to use our stripped dark oak logs again, but this time we're going to build a 7 block high column in each one. Next up, we're going to add a further 10 holes in line with our larger columns all the way up the length of the building, and placing a hole every time we cross paths with a smaller column like so. In the holes we've just made, we're just going to build 4 more 7 block high columns of dark oak stripped logs in the 4 most outer holes, and then in the remaining central 6 holes, fill each of them with a 9 block high column as well. Great. Now grab some spruce planks and we're going to fill in all of the spaces up the sides of our longhouse. Do this all the way along the side and repeat it on the other side too. On the front of our longhouse, we're going to fill in the 2 3 block spaces with spruce planks and then build them up like stairs from the outer wall to the column like so. Then we're just going to replace the bottom row with some upside down spruce stairs to add some depth, and then pop out a single block window in each side. Repeat the entire process on the real wall as well. Now to build the entrance, we'll build 2 3 block high spruce plank columns and then add a cross beam of stripped dark oak across the top. Do this on both ends of the build and then add a row of spruce stairs on top. and then add a row of spruce planks on top of that. Then add another crossbeam of dark oak on top of them. Pop 3 dark oak fence posts in the centre of the crossbeam and then grab some spruce trapdoors. Fill in our entrance, leaving a 1x2 block gap, and then add ourselves a spruce door to create a lovely little entranceway like so. To make our entrance even grander, we're going to form a 7x3 cobblestone platform, leaving a 5 block gap at the front to make way for some stone slabs to act as stairs. Now grab some regular stone and texture that puppy up like we did before. Then add a dark oak fence post on each of the front 2 corners. Now for the entrance roof. We're going to get our dark oak stairs and form a simple pointed roof like so. Add 2 dark oak slabs on top, and then an upside down stair in the gap at the front, followed by a right way up stair, then another upside down one, and then a slab to form that traditional Viking corner flare. Round at the rear entrance, we're going to make a smaller version of the front platform, but without the wooden canopy. Now grab 14 dark oak fence posts and place one on every block, 2 spaces outward from each of our small side wall columns like so. For the main roof, we're going to use dark oak stairs and build a standard pointing roof, starting from on top of the fence posts we've just placed and all the way up to the top. Make sure to add a lip on the front and the back ends of the longhouse by adding an extra row of stairs. Now, when we're near the top of the build, make sure not to place any stairs inside the central 6 columns. This will eventually be our air vent for our smoke to come out of, so just work around these 6 columns for now. I've looked at a lot of images of Viking longhouses on Pinterest and Google, and I've tried to make the design look as close to the real thing as possible, as well as making it look good in Minecraft. I found that these large roofs were a really common feature in Viking builds. Now we're going to build a long crossbeam with stripped dark oak logs all the way through the middle gap of our roof. At 31 blocks long, the beam should reach both ends of the build and have 2 blocks popping out of each end. Now to form that traditional Scandinavian V-shape feature on the corners of our roof, we're going to place 2 slabs or a block of dark oak, then a slab either side, and then 2 stairs and then 2 upside down stairs on the side of those. Simple. Do this on both ends of the longhouse and then place a row of dark oak slabs on the ridge of the roof, and then add another slab on every other space to create that almost fort-like look. Again, avoid the central hole in the roof. To form our air vent, we're going to add a cross beam of stripped dark oak to join up the 3 columns on each side. Place these at the same level as the dark oak stairs. Then do the same thing to join up each side like so, but this time place the beam 1 block higher than the previous ones. Now, in each gap, place a row of dark oak fences, topped off with a row of spruce planks. Now, using more spruce planks, we're going to make a triangle on top of the front and back cross beams, which will be 4 blocks high at the very tip. Do this on both ends. Then we're just going to use some more dark oak stairs and repeat the roofing process, but on a smaller scale. Make sure to leave that lip over the edge of each end. Beautiful. Then, on the corners of each end of the roof, place an upside down stair in the gap, then a right way up one, and then an upside down one, and then a slab on top of that. Add a row of slabs between them, and then add the little extra slabs to create our crenellation look along the ridge. Then grab some more upside down stairs and just place them upside down on the underside of the lips to neaten up the edge of the roof a bit. Then do the same on the larger roof just to neaten that bit up a bit, and then do this on both sides. And then we're going to add a couple of stone buttons on the front of the build to make it look like large nails have been driven through the structure as supports. And then we're going to add some windows. We'll add fence posts in the holes, and then add an open gate on the front, and then add a spruce trapdoor on the top to create a traditional longhouse hinged window shutter. Now we'll grab some stripped spruce and replace some of the spruce planks to add some texture and edge to the build. Finally, add a chain and hang a lantern off it for a bit of light and add a couple of torches in the entrance. Now we're just going to add a few little extra details to the exterior of the build by adding some built up piles of snow in the corners and adding a few chests and barrels out the front to give the place a bit more life and purpose. Then we're going to add texture to the floor by adding some dirt and path blocks to make it look like people have been walking around and making the snow all dirty. We'll now move on to the inside of the longhouse, and to build our fire pit we're going to create a 4x7 block hole in the cobblestone floor and make a rim of stone stairs all the way around. Replace the dirt in the bottom with some stone and then place 5 campfires in the hole. Lovely, cosy and warm. Now for the rest of the interior. I'm just going to add some beds, some workstations, some chests and barrels. I would imagine it would be quite messy in here as there'd be a lot of people in here, and as well as a lot of food and goods stored in here. So I've textured up the floor a bit to make it look like mud has been trodden in through the door, and I've added up a small upper level for the more important people to sleep. I've added a cooking pot over the fire and some brown and grey banners to act as animal skins all over the walls, and I think you'll agree that it's quite cosy in here. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, our Viking longhouse is complete. I've added a few coloured banners to the front and the inside of the longhouse, which were inspired by some Viking shield designs that I found online, and I think you'll agree that the house fits really well into the snowy forest environment, and I can't wait to start adding more buildings to the village. We're just going to flatten the land slightly in our main village area, and then we're just going to push back this hill on the left hand side just to give us a bit more room to work with. In the future we'll build some watchtowers and some Viking / Nordic style churches up on the hills, and maybe some sort of religious stone carvings and stuff like that. One thing we'll definitely be doing is build a little dock on the frozen water with some traditional Viking ships. I think that'll look amazing. So just as we're finishing up clearing out some space, let's give you a quick preview of the house we're going to be building. So as you can see, we've gone for the traditional Viking triangular style house once again, but with a bit of an extension on the side for our little allotment to go around. I really love how the style of build looks in the surrounding snowy forest. I think it looks amazing when it snows, and it makes you just think how tough life was back in those days, surviving out here in the cold, dangerous wilderness. So enough waffling on, let's see what we need for the build. Right, so to build our Viking house we're going to need some stripped dark oak, some spruce planks, some spruce stairs, some dark oak slabs, some cobblestone, regular stone, slabs in both cobble and regular stone, some dark oak gates and fences, some spruce doors and trapdoors, some stone buttons and some lanterns. Pretty easy stuff, so let's crack on with the build. For this build we'll need a 15x9 block area and then a 5x5 block area in the middle of the side like so. So first of all we're going to grab our cobblestone and just fill in the whole base area of the Viking house. This will form a nice strong foundation for the build and raise it off the ground to keep our inhabitants a bit warmer. Next we're just going to texture up the floor a bit by replacing some of the cobble with some regular stone in random places like so. Now we're just going to knock out the block on every one of the corners of the base, and we're just going to pop a 2-block column of stripped dark oak in each of the 6 corner spaces to form the wall supports. Then, in the front wall of the house we're going to pop out another 2 holes either side of the centre block and build 2 5-block high columns of stripped dark oak in each of the holes. Do the exact same thing again on the rear wall as well. Next, down the right hand side of the house we're going to knock out another 2 holes in the foundations, this time 5 blocks in from each corner. Pop another 2 stripped dark oak logs in and repeat it again on the opposite side of the house. Then repeat once more in the shown positions on the extension. Like so. Now grab your spruce planks and just form a 1-block high wall all the way around the edge, apart from in between the 2 sets of taller columns. Then once you've done that, pop 2 more spruce planks in the shown positions to form the side entrance to the house. Next, still using the spruce planks, just build up the front and the back walls like so to form a sort of triangular shape. Grab those spruce doors and place one in between each set of tall strip dark oak columns, then add an upside down spruce stair above each door, topped off with a dark oak fence for a small air vent. Now at the front door we're going to use 3 stone blocks to form a step and then use 4 stone slabs around those to form some smaller steps. Then, using 5 spruce trap doors, we're going to place them on the outside of the door like so to form a little wooden porch. Beautiful. In both the front and the back walls pop out some holes and add another dark oak fence in each one to form some small windows. Now to create a roof support we're going to add a long beam of 19 stripped dark oak logs down the centre of the house, making sure there's 2 logs popping out of each end. On our little side entrance add another 2 spruce planks and a spruce door like so. Now for the roof. We're going to use our dark oak stairs and just go along in strips, making sure there's an overlap on each end like so. Do this all the way around the house, just following the shape of the walls, and you'll gradually see it coming together. Do this all the way up to the long beam down the centre of the house. If you are struggling a bit, don't forget you can pause the video or slow the video down if you need a little bit of extra help. We're then going to add another centre beam down our little side entrance again, making sure there's an extra log popping out of the roof. Now, to cover up the stripped dark oak beams, we're going to use dark oak slabs and then just line the peak of the roof like so. Then on every other block add another slab to form that crenellated look that we used in our longhouse. Now on the front of the large roof we're going to add a dark oak slab either side of the central block, then add a stair on top of those like this, then on the side of those add an upside down stair. Repeat this process on the back and the side entrance to give the build that traditional Viking flair. To add some extra external details, add some stone buttons to the front of the build to make it look like large iron nails have been driven into the structure. And then, to thicken up the edge of the roof, add some upside down stairs running underneath just to neaten it up a little bit as well. Now for the windows we're just going to pop a spruce trapdoor underneath and then add an open gate above it to make it a window shutter. Beautiful. Now for the outside farming area. We're just going to use some dark oak fences and mark out an area to the left hand side of the build for our crops. Once you've marked out the area, which can be as big as small as you want, we're going to hide our water source with some leaves and just hoe down some patches of land. Add some potatoes or whatever you fancy growing and do the same on the other side as well. Then we're just going to add some path blocks and coarse dirt to texture up the floor, and finally add some barrels and chests for some extra detail. Then add some more detail outside like chests and lanterns, and then we can texture up the ground outside of the house again using some path blocks and some coarse dirt. Here I'm sort of creating a walkway to the larger longhouse and then a path around to the farming entrance. Now for the interior. We're just going to texture up the floor a bit more, and then we're going to add some random storage blocks like chests, barrels and composters. Add a bed and some banners, torches and cobwebs, and I don't think Vikings were particularly tidy, so don't worry too much about making it look organised. Just make it look detailed and lived in to give the build more story and life. So we're going to go for a wooden watchtower, as I would imagine that the Vikings in the village would use the spruce trees around them as a main building resource. Perhaps a good future build down in the village would be a workshop or a sawmill where the wood's cut and stored, and we're going to make the tower look a bit rough and a bit battered from all the snow and coastal weather, and go for a similar style to the houses we've built in the village. So without mumbling on any longer, let's see what materials we'll need to build our Viking watchtower. So, what will we need for the build? We're going to need some stripped dark oak, some stripped spruce, some spruce planks, some spruce and dark oak stairs, some dark oak slabs, some cobblestone stairs, some regular stone, chiselled stone, stone and andesite slabs, a spruce door, dark oak fences, campfires, spruce trapdoors, and some torches. Really easy things to acquire in survival, so let's crack on with the build. So to build our watchtower, we're going to need a fairly small 5x5 block area. So to get ourselves started, we're going to build a 19 block high column of stripped dark oak on each corner of our 5x5 square. I think a 19 block column is just the right height, not too short and stumpy but not stupidly high as well. This will give our Vikings a really good high viewpoint of the surrounding area. Next, we're going to create some supports by counting up our column 10 blocks, and then on the 10th block we're going to make a crossbeam using 5 more stripped dark oak across the front. Do the exact same on the back of the tower, and then on the 2 sides do the same as well, but drop them down to the level below like so. Then we're going to move up to the 15th block in the column and do the same again, but this time all on the same level, to create a perfect square like so. This will eventually become our watchtower platform. Now we're going to grab some of our cobblestone and we're just going to fill in the space at the bottom like so to create a floor in the tower base. Next, just grab some of your spruce planks and we're just going to fill in the walls all the way around the tower up to the height of our second set of crossbeams at the top. Like I said before, we're using the spruce because I think Vikings would definitely be using the forest around them, and well, it's my favourite type of wood block. Now in the top section of our spruce walls, we're going to knock out a 2 block window in each side of the tower. Then add another 2 block hole for a door at the bottom, and now we're just going to slowly replace random blocks of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce. Do this all the way around the tower to make the walls look battered and worn, and then once you're happy with the stripped spruce placement, do the exact same thing but replace the planks with some spruce stairs. This makes it look like planks of wood have fallen off, the building's been battered by the wind and the rain, and it gives the tower more story and character. Now, at the base of the tower, we're going to grab some cobble, some stone and some andesite and form a rough wall around the bottom. Use these blocks randomly and use stairs and slabs to make the wall look rough and crooked. Do this all the way around the tower, avoiding the door of course, and what this does is it breaks up the wood a bit and makes the structure look more sturdy and part of the surrounding environment. We'll add a little step up to the door at the front as well. Next, just get some dark oak fences and place them in our windows in our top half of the tower. Beautiful. For the next step, we're going to use an upside down dark oak stair and place it in the centre of the highest crossbeam. Do this on every side of the tower, then once you've done that, grab yourself some spruce trapdoors and place one either side of the upside down stairs, again on every side of the watchtower. Now, on top of the ledge that we've just built, place a row of 5 dark oak fences, and on the 2 end fence posts add another 2 on top of those. And then next, you guessed it, we're going to repeat the process on every side of the watchtower. This should hopefully stop our Vikings falling off the tower after they've drank a bit too much mead. Now, on one side of the tower, we're going to add a row of 7 dark oak stairs on top of the high fence posts like so. Do this on the opposite side as well. Now, around the front, using upside down and then right the way upstairs, we're going to form a triangle, and then, when you reach the middle, pop an upside down stair in the middle like so. Do the same around the back of the tower, and then just use the dark oak stairs to fill in the spaces between them to form our watchtower roof. With some dark oak slabs, we're going to run a line of 7 down the centre of the roof to fill that gap, and then using another 4 slabs, place one on every other block to form that crenellated roof that we've been using on our previous builds. On the underside of our roof, we're going to grab some more of our stripped dark oak and add a 3-block crossbeam at the front and the back of the roof like so, then add 4 upside down spruce stairs to form a sort of arch, and then use some spruce trapdoors to add in the middle for some extra detail and decoration. Now to give our watchtower that Viking flair. We can do this by adding a dark oak slab on each side of the end block of the roof, followed by a stair and then an upside down stair as well. Lovely. Now for the tower platform. We're just going to fill in the floor with some dark oak slabs, and once that's filled in, we're going to pop a chiselled stone block in the centre and just pop a campfire on top to keep our Viking watchmen warm. On the interior of our tower, we're just going to keep things simple just by adding another floor using dark oak slabs in the middle of the tower, add a ladder up the inside of the wall, and then as we move out into the front of the tower, we're going to texture up the ground by adding some path blocks and some coarse dirt. Finally, add a couple of leaves around the side of the walls for extra detail. Now for some final extra details, I'm going to add some chests and barrels on the watchtower platform, and then we're going to move down to the bottom. We're going to add some of the same inside with logs and storage, and then on the middle floor we're going to add a little bedroom for our watchmen to get some rest after a long night of staring into the mist. Finally, we're going to add a couple of our Viking shield inspired banners hanging from the front, and that, my ladies and gentlemen, is our Viking watchtower complete. We can now build up another 2 identical towers in different parts of the village so we can have as much site coverage as possible. I think you'll agree that they really bring the place together and the village is just beginning to come to life. So we're going to build our Viking blacksmith over here next to this cliff, so we're going to push the terrain back slightly to give ourselves a bit more room to work with. I've recently been watching the series Vikings on Amazon Prime, and it's given me loads of ideas and inspirations to how we can expand our village. I would definitely give it a watch if you haven't seen it. But without waffling on much longer, once we've cleared out this area, I'll give you a quick preview of the blacksmith that we're going to build. So, as I said before, we've gone for a similar style to the other builds to keep the Viking feel to the place, but this time we're going to add a sort of barn/workshop area to the right hand side of it for our Viking blacksmith to work in whilst being shielded from the harsh winter weather. This gives us a place for our fearless warriors to get their weapons from, and a place where the anchors are to be made for our future Viking ships, which we'll build very shortly. So let's see what we'll need for the build. So what materials we're going to need for the Viking blacksmith? We're going to need some cobblestone, regular stone, cobble and regular stone slabs, some stripped dark oak logs, some spruce planks, some spruce stairs, some dark oak stairs, some dark oak slabs, some trapdoors in both spruce and regular oak, some dark oak fences, spruce doors, chains and some lanterns. Nice and easy to acquire in survival, so let's get to work. So for this build we're going to need a 13 by 9 block area, so make sure you have enough room before you start. So first of all, we're going to grab our stripped dark oak logs and we're going to place one on all of the 11 yellow blocks like so. Then, using some cobblestone, we're going to form a foundation by filling in all the area to the left of the centre, including the centre itself like shown. Then grab some regular stone and texture up the foundation by replacing some random blocks of cobble. Now, place an extra 2 cobblestone blocks in the shown positions and then add another stripped dark oak block in the centre of the middle like so. On the left hand side 3 dark oak logs, we're going to place an extra one on top of each one, making the total height of each 2 blocks high. Then, working our way to the right, we're going 5 blocks to the next 5 blocks of stripped dark oak, bringing the total of each column from the ground up to 6. Then, again, working our way to the right, we're going to add 3 extra to the next 2 and then another 2 to the ones on the far right hand side of the build. If any of this gets a bit confusing, remember you can always stop the video or slow it down to view things a little bit clearer. Next, we're going to add a spruce door to the front and the back of the build, in between each set of the highest 2 columns like so. Then, using some spruce planks, we're going to create a 1 block high wall around the edge of the cobblestone foundation like so, leaving the centre bit open. Now, on the top of the singular spruce plank to the right hand side of the door, we're going to add a further 3 spruce planks. Do this on both the front and the back of the build. Then, on the left hand side of the doors, we're going to add an extra 3, then 2, then 1 spruce plank to form a slope like so. Again, do this on the front and the back of the build. Then, using some more spruce planks, we're going to fill in the half of the centre wall like so, up to the height of the highest column. This will be the dividing wall between the living area and the blacksmith's workshop. Then, back round the front, we're going to leave a gap above the door and then place a spruce plank like shown. Do this at the front and the back, and then pop a little dark oak fence post on top of each one to form an air vent. Next, we're going to knock out all the spruce planks either side of our gap above the door, and we're going to replace them with a regular oak trapdoor. Pop one in the gap above the door too. Repeat the exact process on the rear of the build as well. Now, this bit is optional, but I think it adds a bit of extra detail to the front of the structure, so I'm going to replace the lowest row of spruce planks with some upside down spruce stairs just to break up that boring plain wall a little. Again, do this on the back as well. Now we're going to form a long 13 block stripped dark oak beam down the centre of the build on top of our dark oak fence posts, making sure there's 2 blocks popping over the edge of each side. On the left hand side of the build, we're going to add a dark oak fence post on the ground next to each stripped dark oak log. Then add a row of 11 dark oak stairs on top of the fences, and then continue building rows of stairs all the way up to our central beam that we've just built to form our traditional Viking sloped roof. we're going to do the same thing on the right hand side of the build, but this time we're going to work from the middle and only form 3 rows of 11 dark oak stairs. This will shortly lead into a more shallow roof covering our blacksmith workshop. Next, using some dark oak slabs, we're going to line the central beam with 11 blocks and then go back over, placing one on every other block to form that crenellated look we've used in our previous Viking builds. Now we're going to form that traditional Viking flare on the front and the back edges of the roof. To do this, add 2 upside down stairs, followed by 2 right way upstairs and then another 2 upside down. Do this on the front and the back. Then just form a little doorstep with some cobble and regular stone slabs. We're now going to quickly remove our woolly guide from the floor and start to form the workshop. To do this, we're going to form rows of spruce trapdoors between the front and the back dark oak columns, and then do the same round the back to form a wall like so. Then on top of the back trapdoor wall, add another 3 regular oak trapdoors for some ventilation. Then grab some dark oak slabs and form a block on each side of the 2 columns like so, and then bridge them together using more slabs at the same width as the roof. Drop down half a block and do the same again, but this time with 2 rows, then drop down another half a block and bridge the next 2 columns, and then drop down another half a block and add a final row. Then, if you want, you can add some spruce trapdoors to the top of each column. Now, in the front entrance to our workshop, we're going to add a row of 3 oak trapdoors at the top, then add a few extra details outside like a lantern hanging from a chain and a few chests and barrels out the front to make the place come to life a little bit. Then add our all important Viking banners on the front wall. Now we're going to texture up the floor a little bit inside the workshop using some path blocks and some coarse dirt and gravel. Bring the texture outdoors as well to form a path to the front door. Then, back inside of our workshop, we're going to pop a couple of cobblestone blocks down and some stairs to create a little walkway up to the living area of our blacksmith. For the interior of the workshop, we're going to add a few details like a firing pit in the corner and some anvils, smithing benches and worktops. Then we'll add some storage blocks and banners, and then we're going to form a little border around the living area entrance with some more spruce and oak trapdoors. Then we'll add some hanging chains and some lanterns, and that completes our little side workshop for our blacksmith to work in. Now for the living area, we're going to add a sunken bed, some storage, some lanterns, all the usual stuff, remembering that it doesn't need to be perfect as we don't think the Vikings were the kings of tidy houses. We'll add some brown banners and to act as animal skins, and then texture up the floor slightly to complete the inside of our Viking blacksmith. Quickly build us a little dock down here at the water's edge, and I'll give you a step-by-step tutorial on how to build a Viking longboat. So, I've gone for a dark oak log and spruce combination to match the rest of our village, and then I've textured up the T-shaped platform with some trapdoors to make it look a bit worn and used. I've then used some fence posts to the rear of the dock and added our signature banner, and then I've added some barrels and chests to make the dock look a bit more lively. Next, I'm going to use a bit of cobble, mossy and regular stone to add some rocks and texture to the beach banks. This just gives the area a bit more interest and makes it look a bit more natural. So I'm going to quickly give you a preview of the longboat that we're going to be building down here at the dock, and then I'll show you how to build a block by block one a little further out of the bay as if it's on its way to raid a nearby village. On this one I'll leave the sail down as it's docked, but on the block by block one we're going to add a lovely traditional stripy Viking sail. The ship's quite a simple design and it isn't huge because, well, we can't really fit a large ship in this dock. So let's see what we're going to need to build our longboat. So we don't need a lot for this build. We're only going to need some spruce planks, some spruce stairs and slabs, spruce trapdoors, dark oak fences and buttons, and 2 different coloured walls. They're for the sail and can be any colour that you want. I've gone for red and grey, and I think that'll look quite good. Right, let's crack on with the build. So, first of all, what we're going to do is we need to build a row of 9 spruce planks at the same level as the surface of the water that our ship is floating in. Then, on both ends of the row, we're going to pop an upside down spruce stair. Then, on top of that, we're going to add another row, this time of 11 spruce planks. Next, we're going to add 11 upside down spruce stairs along each side of the beam, and then add an extra one at each end of the beam like so. Now, using more spruce planks, we're going to add 3 on top of each end in a sort of V shape like so. Next, we're going to grab some more spruce stairs and add a row of 9 along each side like so. You may need to add a temporary block to get the row to protrude off the edge. We're now going to pop 2 more upside down stairs in the shown positions and then add a right way up stair in the middle like so. Then repeat the exact same process on the other end of the boat. Now, using some spruce slabs, we're going to place one either side of the upright stair in the middle and then place one in the middle of the 2 spruce planks below it as well. Do this on both ends. Now we're going to add an upside down stair on the very end of the boat and then place 2 blocks of spruce planks on top. And you guessed it, repeat it on both ends. Now grab some spruce trapdoors and add 2 on each end of the boat in the shown positions. Then grab another 2 spruce trapdoors and place them on every other block down the sides of the boat like so. Beautiful. Next, grab 8 spruce slabs and place them on the inside of the boat like so for our Vikings to sit on while they are rowing their way to victory. I don't know about you, but I'd get a sore bum sat on those all the way from Norway to England. Now we're going to add a dragon's head to the front of the ship using a couple of stairs and a button for an eye. Then on the back we're going to add a sort of circle using 3 stairs. Experiment and see what shapes you can make on your boat. Now for the mast. We're going to build up from the centre of the boat using 11 dark oak fence posts, and then on the 10th post we're going to add another 3 on each side so we have something to attach our all important sail onto. Now grab your wool and add a row of alternating colours along the row of fence posts like so. Any colours will look good, you can even keep it all one colour if you want. Now move forward and down a block and add a column of 5 more wool, again alternating the colours to form that traditional striped look. Once you've formed the main large part of the sail, attach the bottom of it to the mast by repeating the 1 block high row we did at the top of the sail, but this time at the bottom. Next, add a couple of chests and barrels to bring a bit of life to the ship. Now this part's optional, but if your boat is stationary then why not add a chain at the front of the boat, making it look like it's attached to an anchor. Finally, we're going to add a lantern to the front of the ship just in case Thor's lightning isn't enough to brighten the night's sky. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, our simple Viking longboat is complete. I think it looks amazing with the towers in the background and the frozen water around it. Finally our Vikings can venture out and gather more resources to expand our village. I was thinking of building our stable over in this corner, but before we build the stable I'd just like to add a little bit more detail to the village that we're making and make it look a bit more lively. So I just wanted to add a bit more interest to this central area. We'll add a bit more later, but for now I'm just going to add a couple of cooking fires, and then I decided to add a couple of market stalls for our villagers to come down and sell their produce, whether that be fish, animal hide or crops. I textured up the floor a bit more to make it look a bit more trodden, and it really makes the place come to life. If you have any more ideas on how we can liven up this area even more, then let me know down below. So next I'm just going to clear out a bit of space over here in the corner to make room for our stable. I would love to start expanding the village over in this direction and have a few builds on different levels of land and start creating weaving paths around to make it look like a bustling trading port. So let's give you a little preview of the Viking stable. So after experimenting with a few different designs, I went for another pointed roof as I think it'll look really impressive from above when we have a few more builds in the village. We've gone for a 2-room stable with a fence area out the front, and then I might add a little storage area on the side to store some bales of hay to feed the horses. So let's see what we're going to need to build the Viking stable. So for this build we're not going to need a whole lot of stuff. We're just going to need some stripped dark oak logs, some stripped spruce logs, some spruce planks, spruce stairs and dark oak stairs, some dark oak slabs, dark oak fences and gates, some hay bales and some lanterns. So let's get cracking with the build. So for this build we're going to need a 15 by 7 block area, so clear out plenty of room before you start. So our first step is to grab some dark oak stairs and place a row of 7 on each end of the stable like so. This will be the bottom of the roof. Next, grab some stripped dark oak logs and build a 6 block high column in the centre of the stable just inside the red border. Do the same on the back, leaving a 3 block gap between them. Then, 4 blocks either side of our columns, we're going to build a 3 block high column of stripped dark oak, making 4 columns in total. Next we're going to go up to the 4th block on our central large columns and add 3 horizontal dark oak stripped logs on either side. Do this on the rear large column too. Then add another 3 horizontal logs to join the 2 frames up, and then add another one on the front and the back like so. Then down the centre of the frame we're going to add a 9 block long beam of dark oak strip logs, and that finishes the main framework for the build. For the next step, grab some spruce planks and we're going to fill in the 2 side walls and the back wall, making sure that the wall is only 3 blocks high. It looks plain at the moment, but don't worry, we're going to be texturing it up shortly. Then above each entrance we're going to form 2 L shapes with some spruce planks, and again repeat the pattern on the rear side as well. Now to texture up the walls we're going to replace some of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce, and then to add even more detail we're going to add some stairs to make it look like some of the planks are missing, adding some age, history and interest to the stable. Next we're going to grab some dark oak fences and we're going to fill in the wall in between each stable to form a sort of barrier between them. Now for the roof. We're going to build up from each corner up towards the middle with some dark oak stairs, using a right way up, then upside down, then a right way up, then an upside down sort of pattern. Do this on each of the corners and then simply join up the rows with more dark oak stairs to form that traditional Viking roof that we've been using. Remember, you can pause the video or slow it down if you need a closer look. Then on the peak of the roof just add a row of 7 dark oak slabs and then add another slab on every other block to form that crenellated roof look. It's now time to add a Viking flair to the build by using 6 dark oak stairs on each end of the roof, placing them in a V shape like so. Beautiful. Now inside of the stable we're going to dig up the dirt and replace it with a combination of gravel and path blocks to give it a rough texture. extend the texture out to the front of the stable, and then we're going to grab 4 dark oak fence posts, place them in the entrances with a dark oak gate in the middle of them. Lovely. In the corner of each stable, I'm just going to pop a composter in the ground and fill it up to its max, so it looks like a little trough of horse food. Then I'm just going to add a lantern hanging from the sticking out beam on the front. Then, out front, I'm going to create a fenced off area. This can be as big or as small as you like. Then I'm going to add various details like a pile of hay bales, some storage barrels, a cauldron full of water for the horses to drink, and of course we're going to add some horses. Then I'm just going to extend the textured floor out to fill the interior of our fenced area. To the right hand side of our Viking stable, I'm going to clear out a little bit more room, and I'm just going to build a simple storage shelter with some stripped dark oak logs and some fences as walls. We're just going to add a peaked roof and then fill it with all of that tasty hay for our horses to munch on. Then, to link it up with the rest of the village, I'm just going to continue our path up the side of our longhouse so our Vikings can ride their horses out into the wilderness or quickly jump on them and defend our village from a Viking raid. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, our Viking stable is complete. I'm really pleased with how this has turned out, and I think it fits really nicely into our village. We're going to build ourselves a storage house down by the dock to store all of our fish, tools and materials, but first I thought I'd need to flesh the village out a little bit more because it's looking a little bit small, so we'll add a couple of more Viking houses here and there. So, I thought we could maybe add a couple of simple structures, keeping in with the style that we've been going with. Over here, just by the main longhouse, we're just going to add a little house with a small pig pen next to it, just so the village has another source of food, and we have another house for our Vikings to fill. Next, over on this hill near the dock, we're going to add another little house, pretty much identical to the previous one, nothing we haven't done before. I really wanted to add some builds on different levels of the village just to give it a bit more interest, and I think this adds another dimension to the place as well. Then, finally, we can add a little path using path blocks and diorite blocks, which actually was a suggestion made by someone watching a video, to make it look like dirt you walked on snow, and I think it looks so good. Thank you so much for that suggestion. So next, let's give you a quick preview of the storage house. So for this build, I thought we'd stray away from the triangular look we've gone for with the rest of the village. I've gone for a more boxy look, which I think looks great. We're going to go for an open front for easy access to supplies, and on the roof we've gone for a similar look to the rest of the builds, but with a slightly less fancy Viking flair on the tips of the roof. So let's have a look at what materials we'll need to build our storage room. So to build this, we're going to need to gather some stripped dark oak, stripped spruce, some spruce planks and stairs, some dark oak stairs and slabs, some barrels, some spruce trapdoors, some chests, dark oak fences, chains, lanterns and some stone buttons. So let's crack on with the build. For this build, we're going to need a 13 by 5 block area, so clear out plenty of space. So, first of all, we're going to place a barrel on each corner of our template and add another barrel 4 blocks inward of each corner, making a total of 8 barrels placed. Next, we're going to grab our stripped dark oak logs and we're going to pop 4 on top of each barrel to create 8 5-block high columns to form that main structure of the storage house. Now we're going to join all the columns up with some more stripped dark oak by joining all the top blocks together and then adding some in the middle to join the centre together like so. On the rear side of the build, we're going to grab some spruce planks and fill in the back wall 3 blocks high, but also replacing some of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce logs and stairs to add a bit of texture. Then in the gaps above the wall, we're going to place 9 dark oak fences. Then grab some more dark oak fences and fill in each of the side walls with fences, knocking out a couple of them afterwards to make it look like it's been battered and worn and as if it's been in use for a few years. Now, back around the front of the build, we're going to add a row of 3 dark oak fences across the top of each of the 3 doorways, and then we're going to add 2 upside down spruce stairs in each doorway too, finished off with a spruce trapdoor in the middle to form a sort of archway. Lovely. Moving up to the roof now, we're going to use even more dark oak fences and add a row of 3 in the centre of each crossbeam all the way down the length of the build like so, using a total of 12 fences altogether. Now we're going to grab some stripped dark oak again and we're going to place 17 blocks in a long beam down the length of the build on top of the fences we've just placed. Make sure there are 2 stripped dark oak logs popping out of each end of the build. Now for the roof itself. We're going to start by adding a row of 15 dark oak stairs across the side of the build and then repeat this twice more above it to reach the long central beam we've just placed. Then once you've done that, pop another 2 upside down stairs under the overlap of each end of the build to give it that nice neat finish. Then you guessed it, just do the exact same thing on the rear side of the build as well to form the roof. Next, we're going to add 2 dark oak stairs, 1 on each end of the roof like so, then join them up with some dark oak slabs, and add another one on top of every other slab to form that crenellated look that we've used in the other builds. Finally, for that Viking flair, add an upside down stair and a right way up stair on the top of that on each end of the roof like shown. Beautiful. On the front of the build, we're now going to place a chain hanging in front of each column like so, and then add a lovely warm flickering lantern on the end of each one to illuminate the place up a bit. Next, using some path blocks, gravel and dirt, we're going to texture up the surface at the front of the storage room, and then we can start by adding the all important chests. You can place as many chests as you need if you're using this in survival, or if you're just using it for decoration, you can place a mixture of barrels, campfires to look like firewood, and chests to make it look like a bit more authentic. Finally, around the back of the storage building, we're going to be adding a few bushes here and there using some leaf blocks just to make it blend into the environment a little bit more, and I think that just finishes it off nicely. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, our Viking storage room is complete. I'm pretty pleased with it and I hope you enjoy watching me build it. Our Viking village is really starting to look good now, it's got a bit more meat on its bones, however I think there is plenty more we need to do. So, we've gone for a similar design to the rest of the village, but this time we're going to make it a little bit taller and thinner, and I think you'll agree this looks amazing. It's a little bit more fantasy Viking style, but I really wanted to add some more builds that look like this around the rest of the village, so without further ado, let's see what we need to build our Viking fishing hut. So for this build, my friends, we are going to need some stripped dark oak logs, dark oak blocks, some dark oak stairs, some dark oak slabs, some dark oak fences, some stripped spruce logs, some spruce planks, some spruce stairs and slabs, spruce doors, oak and spruce trap doors, some dark oak gates, campfires, chains, lanterns and some stone buttons. Now let's get cracking on with the build. Okay guys, to begin the build you're going to want to build a platform of spruce slabs, making it 15 by 16 blocks in size. You can make this bigger if you want, but this is the minimum size to fit our build on. Now you can build this wherever you want, but make sure that 2 of the adjacent sides of the platform are above water. You want to make sure the build is around 1 to 2 blocks higher than the level of the water as well. If you really wanted something a bit different, you could even build the whole thing above water and have a sort of wooden island on stilts. Next, I'm just going to join up the other 2 adjacent sides of the platform to the land with a few blocks of dirt just to make it easier to walk onto and to neaten it up slightly. Then on this bottom left hand corner I'm going to build a 5 by 3 block spruce slab extension to form a sort of fishing pier, like so. Now at the end of our little pier we're going to place 2 stripped dark oak columns either side, reaching all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. Make sure only 1 block is above the height of the platform. Next we're going to do the same again along the edge of the platform, making sure to leave a 3 block gap in between each one, like so. Then do the same on the other side of the platform, which is above the water. Now if you're anything like me, you like things to match up and be neat and tidy, so if your platform doesn't match up to the column, don't be afraid to just extend the platform by a few spaces so it's all equal like I've done here. Now, to stop our drunken fishermen from going missing in the frozen water, we're going to pop some sideways chains in between each column to form a sort of handrail. Next, we're going to find the centre of our wooden platform, and then 5 blocks in from the front of the platform we're going to place a spruce door. Next, grab some more of those stripped dark oak logs and place a 7 block high column either side of our spruce door, like so. Once you've done that, leave a gap either side and then place a 3 block high column again, like so. Then in the 2 spaces between the columns we're going to pop in a single spruce plank. Next we're going to use some more spruce planks and we're going to add a row of 11 blocks in the shown position to form the side of our hut. Do this on the other side too, and then we're just going to repeat everything that we did on the front wall, but this time on the back to form a back entrance. Now above our spruce door we're going to pop an upside down spruce stair and then add a spruce plank in the gaps either side as well. Then on the top of the 3 blocks we've just placed we're going to add 3 sideways facing stripped dark oak logs for a beam. Then just do the exact same thing on the rear wall. Using some more spruce planks we're going to place 3 in the gap above the door, like so, and then add another one either side too. And then you guessed it, repeat it again on the rear wall. Now to make the exterior look a little more interesting we're going to texture up the walls by replacing 1 or 2 of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce logs instead, to give the build a bit of interest and a bit of age to it. Now on each of the windows in the front wall we're going to pop a dark oak fence, and then add a single fence post on the very top of the wall, like so, then repeat it again on the back wall. Next, on top of the highest 2 fence posts we're going to bridge them together using 15 stripped dark oak logs, making sure that there are 2 poking out over the edge of each side, like so. Now for the roof. We're going to add a row of 13 dark oak stairs along the floor down the side of the build, and then place a row of 13 dark oak planks above it on the spruce plank wall like so. And then we're going to rinse and repeat the process all the way up to reach our stripped dark oak crossbeam. Using the planks gives the roof a steeper slope rather than just using the stairs. Then we're just going to pop round to the other side and we're going to do the exact same thing. Beautiful. Now on each end of the build we're going to neaten up the roof a little by adding some upside down stairs on the underside of the overlap, just to thicken it up a bit and smoothen it out slightly. Do this on both ends. Now for a bit of detail on the front, we're going to add some open dark oak gates on the front of our windows and then add a spruce trapdoor on top to make it look like a little window shutter. How cute! Now on the sides of the roof it's looking a little plain, so we're going to replace some of the stairs with some full plank blocks to give it a bit of texture and just to roughen it up a little bit. Next, on the very top of the roof, we're going to find the centre of our stripped dark oak crossbeam and we're going to knock out the middle 5 blocks out, like so. Then, knock out the 5 stair blocks either side of the hole as well to make way for our air vent. Now in each corner of our little knocked out area, we're going to pop a 2 high block column of stripped dark oak like so. Then fill in the smaller gaps with some spruce planks, fill in the larger gaps with some dark oak fences, followed by some more spruce planks on the top like so. Then on the front and the back of the air vent we're going to pop another 2 block high column of spruce planks like so, and then we're just going to repeat our roof building process using our dark oak stairs and planks until we reach the top, and then pop an upside down dark oak stair on each end so it looks like this. Now to cover up the gap in the top we're going to add a row of dark oak slabs, and then add another dark oak slab on every other space to form that crenellated look that we've been using in the rest of the village. Then on each end add an upside down stair and then a right way up stair to create a Viking flair. Then again neaten up the roof's edges and put some upside down stairs in like so. Now a little further down, on our larger roof ridge, we're going to do the same crenellated finish using our dark oak slabs in a row and then by adding another on every other space. If you've watched the other tutorial videos you'll know what I'm about to do next. We're going to add 2 upside down stairs either side of the end of the ridge, then 2 right way upstairs and then 2 upside down again to make that traditional Viking V shape. Now around the front of the fishing hut I'm just going to hang a lantern from a chain like so, and then I'm just going to texture up the decking with a few spruce trapdoors here and there. Next, on the left hand side of the hut we're going to place 2 fence posts on the top of 3 of the stripped dark oak columns. Then, using campfires, we're going to form a wooden shelter by joining it up with the side of the roof like so. Make sure you put all the fires out to avoid disaster, and then replace random campfires with some spruce and oak trapdoors to make it look a bit more rustic. Then, under our little makeshift shelter, we're going to add a workstation for our fisherman to gut and chop up his fish by adding a table, some barrels and some cauldrons full of water to wash his fish in. Dot a few chests and lanterns around the place to bring it to life. Now around the back we're going to form another smaller version of our shelter just above the back door. It just adds a little more variation and makes it different to the front. Now add some stone buttons on the front and the back walls to make it look like huge nails have been driven through the wood, and then let's add our all important Viking sigil banner, Pride of Place, in the centre. Now moving on to the interior, we're going to add some columns from the roof all the way down to the floor. It makes the interior a little cramped, so you don't have to do this, but then we're going to add a lovely warming fire pit in the floor using some stone stairs and campfires. Then for the rest of the room, I'm just going to add a bed, a little storage cupboard and a few chests and barrels. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, our Viking fishing hut is complete. This is definitely one of my favourite builds in the village so far, and I think we could take a lot from this build and incorporate a lot of its features into future builds in the village as well. So over in this corner I wanted to quickly just level out the land slightly, however doing so on a slightly higher level to the rest of the main village just to give it that bit more height and to add some variation to the village, making it look a bit more interesting from afar. So now let's give you a quick preview of our new Viking house that we're going to be building. So for this house I've strayed away from the traditional triangular look that we've mainly used elsewhere in the village, and we've gone for a slightly more fantasy style. It's a really good looking house and it's made of really easy materials to acquire in survival, so personally I think it would make for a really nice survival start house. I think in our village this house would maybe be the home of a more wealthy or powerful Viking, or could even be used as a meadery or seer's hut, but we'll be building one of those in a different video. So let's see what materials we need for our house. Right, so for this build we're going to need our usual stripped dark oak logs, some stripped spruce logs, some spruce planks, spruce stairs, dark oak planks and stairs, dark oak slabs and fences, cobblestone, regular stone, cobble and regular stone slabs, spruce doors, chains, lanterns and some stone buttons. Not a lot of stuff, so let's crack on with our Viking house. Now, for this build, we're going to need a 7 by 11 block area with a 2 by 7 block area in the middle of each side like this. So make sure you have enough room to start with. Right, our first step is to simply fill in the entire marked out area with our cobblestone to create a sort of cross shape, to form a solid foundation for our house. Then, to make it more interesting, replace some of the cobble with some regular stone to texture it up a little bit. Now on each corner of the build we're going to knock out a cobblestone block and place a column of 4 stripped dark oak logs from the ground up. Do this on all 8 corners of the foundation. Next, in the shown positions perpendicular to the columns we've just built, we're going to knock out the cobble block again and place 4 columns of 8 dark oak strip logs like so. Now on each side of the build we're going to knock out another 2 cobblestone blocks like so and place in another 2 columns of stripped dark oak logs, this time 6 blocks high. Do this on each side, totaling 8 new columns. Now we're going to work our way around the whole build and place 3 blocks of spruce planks in between all of our columns like so. So we should end up with a 3 block high wall of spruce planks all the way around the outside like this. Using our stripped dark oak logs again, we're going to put 3 more, horizontally this time, along each side like so to form a crossbeam. Do this on all 4 sides of the house. Then simply pop an extra spruce plank in the centre top of each wall like so. Now we're going to choose which side is going to be our front. Once you've picked a side, pop a spruce door in the centre and pop out a window on each side like so, and add a dark oak fence in each hole. Stunning. On the other 3 walls we're just going to knock out the top 3 spruce planks of the wall and add in another 3 fence posts to create 3 more windows on each side. This should be enough ventilation for us to put a fire inside. Now grab those stripped dark oak logs again, and this time we're going to join the largest columns together using a 5 block long beam at the same height as the horizontal beam on the outer wall. If it's any easier, that's 4 blocks up on the largest columns. Do this on each side. So next, on the top of each outer wall, we're going to place 4 horizontal stripped dark oak logs like so, making sure the 2 blocks are hanging over the outside and 1 block on the inside. Then just repeat the process on the other 3 sides. Okay, so now using our spruce planks again, we're going to join up the largest columns again using 4 3-block high walls. The horizontal beams we placed in the previous step should sit snug up against the side. Next, making sure this is the 2 side walls, not the front and the back wall, we're going to place a row of 5 spruce planks on the very top and then a further 3 on top of that, like so. Beautiful. Then, down the centre of the 3 spruce planks, we're just going to place an 11 block stripped dark oak horizontal beam across the top, making sure there are 2 blocks poking out of each end, like so. Now to form the roof, we're going to add 4 rows of 3 dark oak stairs like so on each side. Do this twice on each side to form a triangular roof, then pop some upside down stairs underneath each lip to neaten it up. Then we're simply going to repeat the process on each of the 4 walls. This part might be a bit tricky, so don't be afraid to pause or go back in the video to check you've placed all your blocks in the right places. But once you've done all 4 sides, it should look something a little like this. Stunning. Now for the top roof, we're going to add 4 rows of 9 dark oak stairs on the front and the back like so. Make sure you have 1 block poking over the edge of the wall on each end. Once you've built up both sides, pop those upside down stairs under the lips to neaten the roof up again. Now on the front side of the build, the side which the door is on, we're going to pop a row of 2 dark oak slabs, add an extra one on the front one, then add an upside down stair on each side, followed by a right way up one and another upside down one to form that Viking V shape. Do this on the rear, lower roof as well. Then on the 2 side smaller roofs, we're going to add a row of 3 dark oak slabs, again adding an extra one on the top of the end one, then add an upside down stair followed by a right way up stair, add another slab up against the wall too. Do this on both sides. Now on the very top of the larger roof, we're going to place a row of slabs and then another slab on every other space like so. Then on each end of the roof, we're going to repeat the little 2-stair pattern we created in the previous step. So to make the exterior a little more interesting to look at, we're going to add some age and history to it by replacing some of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce logs and some spruce stairs. This really brings the build to life and breaks up those plain wooden walls. Now on the end of each sticky out beam of the stripped dark oak logs, we're going to place a stone button and then hang a chain and a lantern from each one to light that beauty up. So next to the front door, we're going to place a row of 3 stone blocks and then add some slabs around it to form a bit of a step. Then either side of the door we're going to place 2 dark oak fences and then add a dark oak stair on top of each one. Then in the middle just add 2 dark oak slabs to form a little entrance porch. Next, we're going to add our signature Viking banners, which we've used in the rest of the village to make sure people know that this house is in this Viking clan. Now for a bit of terraforming around the general area, we're going to form a path using, you guessed it, path blocks, joining it up with the rest of the village. We're going to use diorite slabs to act as snow covered steps, and then we're going to add a few rocks and bushes around the area to make sure it really fits into the environment. Finally, we're going to put a couple of those spruce trees back that we chopped down at the start of the video. For the interior, I've added a cosy hanging chandelier, and then I made this trapdoor table hanging from chains, which I absolutely love. We're then going to add a large bed and a fire pit so our Viking residents can cook up a lasagna or something, maybe more like a rat on a stick or some fish, and then we're going to go and finish it up with some details like some chests, barrels, banners and flower pots, and I think you guys will agree that it's very cozy in here. And there we have it, Vikings and Vikings, if that's even a word. We have our new variation of our Viking house. I'm really pleased with how this turned out, and it's definitely one of my favourite builds in the area. So I thought back here was the best place for our Viking meat hall. It's going to be slightly higher build to the rest of the village, so I thought that the back here would be the best, and it would help add some variety to the look of the village as a whole. I'm really pleased with how the village is coming along so far, but I still think it needs a bit of landscaping work doing here and there, so maybe we can even do a video just on that in the future. Who knows? But for now, let's give you a quick preview of our meat hall that we're going to be building. So we've gone for a similar style to that of the Viking house we built in the previous video, but this time we're going to be building it a bit bigger and taller, with some extra roofs and plenty of space for our Vikings to come and drink together. I think this might be one of my favourite builds so far in the village, but what do we need to build it? So the materials you'll need for this build are some stripped dark oak, stripped spruce logs, some spruce planks and stairs, dark oak planks, stairs and slabs, cobblestone and regular stone blocks and slabs, some dark oak fences, spruce doors and trapdoors, and some lanterns. Not a lot really, so let's get started. So for this build, we're going to need to mark out a 9x9 block area first of all, and then on the left and right sides of it we're going to add a 5x3 block area, and on the front and the back sides we're going to add a 5x2 block area, like so. So firstly, we're going to need to cover the entire marked out area with some cobblestone. This will form a nice strong base and foundation for our fairly large structure. We'll texture this flooring up shortly. Next we're going to go around the whole base and we're going to knock out every cobblestone block which is situated on a corner. Then we're going to fill in each of the gaps with a column of 4 stripped dark oak logs. There should be a total of 12 stripped dark oak columns in total, and it should look something a little like this. Then, to texture up the floor, we're going to replace some of the cobblestone with some regular stone just to make it look like it's been worn and walked on over time. Next, 4 blocks backwards from the front 2 columns, we're going to knock out another cobblestone block and place a 10 block high column of stripped dark oak logs. Do the exact same, but 4 blocks forward from the backmost 2 columns. These 4 columns should form a square right in the centre of our foundation. Now we're going to connect the frontmost 2 columns together with a beam of 3 stripped dark oak logs like so. Do the same on the back and the 2 side pairs of columns. Next, do the same thing on the front side of the very top of the highest columns, and then underneath repeat the process twice more but leaving a gap in between them like so. Do this on the back side of the central tower section as well. Then we're going to do the same thing on the 2 sides, but this time we're going to leave out the beam which is in the middle. Now on the front little wall we're going to be adding 4 spruce planks like so, and then fill in the entire back wall with spruce planks as well. On the 2 side walls just add a row of 3 spruce planks along the bottom. Next, grab some more spruce planks and we're going to place 8 columns of 3 spruce planks in the shown positions. So next we're going to join up these 2 columns on the right hand side of the build with a 4 block high spruce plank wall. Once you've built the 4 block high wall, add a row of 5 spruce planks on top, followed by a row of 3 on top of that like so. Then repeat the process exactly the same on the other side of the build. Now this might seem a bit counterproductive, but we're going to knock out a 3 wide by 4 tall hole in the walls we've just built. Do this on both sides, so it should end up looking something like this. It's now time to join the left and right sections to the central structure by building 4 3-block high spruce plank walls in the shown positions. Now the build is really starting to take shape. On the front, back and the 2 side walls, we're now going to place 2 spruce plank blocks in the shown positions on top. Then simply place a dark oak fence post in the middle of them on each wall as well. Lovely. Next, grab some stripped dark oak logs, and on top of the fence posts on the front wall that we've just placed, we're going to build a 6-block long horizontal beam, making sure it's connecting with the central tower structure like so. Repeat this on the rear wall as well. We're now going to do the same thing on top of the 2 side fence posts, but this time only using 5 stripped dark oak logs, again making sure it's connected to the wall. Moving up to the tower section, we're going to be filling in the 2 side sections with 9 spruce planks on each side, and then on the front and the back sides we're going to fill in the lower 3-block gap with 3 spruce planks again, just like this. Then, using some dark oak fences, just fill in the remaining 3-block gap on both the front and the back sides to form an air vent. Next, in the centre of the spruce plank section on the left and the right side of the tower, we're going to protrude another 4-block long horizontal beam of stripped dark oak logs on both sides. We're now going to texture up the outside of the mead hall by simply replacing some of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce logs. This gives it a bit of history, age and story to the build. Now on the left and right side walls, we're going to fill in the 3-block gap that we've left with some more dark oak fences to create some windows. And if you want, like I am here, add some extra windows for more lighting as well. Now for the outer roofs. On the left and right lower horizontal beams, add a row of 4 dark oak stairs and work your way down for another 2 rows to create a slope. Do this on the rear side too, and then use some upside down stairs to neaten up the edges of the roof like so. Just makes it look that little bit more nicer. Do this on both the left and the right smaller roofs, and you should end up with something that looks a little like this. Next, on the highest horizontal beams, we're going to repeat the process again, but this time using rows of 3 dark oak stairs, working our way down for 5 rows in total. Again, do this on the rear side of the section and neaten up those edges with the upside down stairs. Then, you guessed it, simply repeat the process on the opposite side of the build so the structure is perfectly symmetrical. Now on the front section of the roof, add a row of 5 dark oak stairs across the stripped dark oak beam and work your way down for 3 rows, this time making sure to connect the stairs up to the larger roof, so the rows will vary in length as you go down the roof. Do this on both sides, neaten up those edges and repeat the process on the rear side of the mead hall too. Next, on the top of the tower section, we're going to add a row of 3 spruce planks on the left and right side, and then add a horizontal beam of 9 stripped dark oak logs across the centre like so. Then, grabbing those dark oak stairs again, we're going to be adding a row of 7 across the side of the beam and working our way down, add another 2 rows of 7, totaling 3 rows. Do this on the rear side too, and then neaten up those edges. Now moving back down to the front entrance roof, we're going to add a row of dark oak slabs along the top ridge and then add another one on every other block. Then on the front block we're going to add an upside down stair on each side, then a right way up one, then another upside down one to form that traditional Viking V shape that we've used on the rest of the village. Do this on the rear small roof as well. Moving back up to the very top, we're going to add a dark oak stair on each end like so, then add an upside down stair and another right way up stair to create these fancy flares. Join them up with the dark oak slabs and again add another one on every other slab to create that crenellated look. We're now going to move down to the smaller roofs and we're going to repeat that little stair pattern on those two. Add a stair on the end, then an upside down one, and then a right way up one, you guessed it, and again cover the stripped dark oak beam with a row of dark oak slabs. Do this on all 4 of the remaining roof ridges. To add a bit more interest and texture to the roof, we're going to replace some of the stairs with some full dark oak blocks. This gives the roof a bit more of a rough look and allows some of the snow to land on the blocks, making it fit into the cold target environment a little bit more. Now for the entrance. Pop in a spruce door and then add 3 random stone blocks in front. Surround these blocks with 5 stone slabs to create a small step, and then using 5 spruce trapdoors we're going to surround the door like this to create a nice little porch. Beautiful. It's now time to do a little bit of external detailing and terraforming. We're going to connect our new mead hall up with the rest of the village using path, dirt and gravel blocks, and use diorite slabs to form dirty, snowy, trodden on steps up to each new level. We can then add some piles of snow up against the corners of the build, and of course add some barrels of mead outside along with some bushes, sweet berry bushes and a couple of lanterns. We can then finally add our Viking banner to show that this mead hall is part of this Viking village. For the interior, we're going to add these hanging tables, which I absolutely love, surrounded by slab benches on both sides. Then we're going to add a bit of a bar/serving area with some spruce trap doors and a collection of mead barrels with some taps on behind it. We're then going to add a fire pit in the middle to keep our jolly Vikings warm and add a few extra details like some banners, chests and armour stand. And that, my lovely whale watchers, is our Viking mead hall complete. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I think it might be one of my favourite builds in the village so far. So I think for today's build, up here on this cliff will be the perfect location to build our Stave Church. It's towers over the village and we can build a weaving path up to the entrance. It'll look amazing in the landscape and really pull the whole village together. But first we need to get rid of these spruce trees, so let's get chopping. So I'm going to chop down most of these spruce trees on top of the cliff and flatten out the land ever so slightly just to make way for our rather large Stave Church. Don't worry, we will replant some of these trees afterwards just to make sure that the church looks settled in the landscape and it fits in its natural environment, but for now, so we can see what we're doing, we'll get rid of them. It took me quite a while to figure this build out, a lot of experimenting and looking at reference images and stuff like that, but I think it's turned out pretty good and it really fits well with the rest of the style of our village. So now we've cleared out some space, let's see what materials that we're going to need to collect to build our Stave Church. So guys, to build our Viking Stave Church, we're going to need some cobblestone, some regular stone, some cobblestone and mossy cobble stairs, some cobble, mossy and regular stone slabs, some spruce planks, some stripped dark oak logs, some stripped spruce logs, some spruce stairs, some barrels, some spruce fences, some spruce signs, some deep slate tiles, some deep slate bricks, some deep slate stairs in both tiles and bricks, some deep slate slabs, some deep slate walls, some path blocks, some spruce trapdoors, some chains, candles and some lanterns. Quite a lot of stuff, but all this stuff is quite easy to acquire, so let's jump straight into the build. So first of all, we're going to need a 19 by 19 block area shown here in red, and then on the front and the two sides of the red square we're going to add a 2 by 7 block area shown here in yellow. Then at the back of the red square shown in blue we're going to add a 6 by 11 block area, then in the centre behind that a 3 by 9 block area shown here in green, and then in orange a row of 7 blocks, and in pink a row of 5, and then finally in cyan a 3 block area. Feel free to pause the video here if you want to mark out the area in your world. So now we're going to grab our cobblestone and we're just going to fill in the entire area to create a nice strong base for our Stave Church. Once you've filled the entire area in with cobblestone, we're going to knock out random blocks and replace the cobble with some regular stone to add some variety and texture to the church floor to make it look like people have been walking around in it for years. Next, on the front and two sides sticky out sections, we're going to add 4 barrels on each one like so, with a gap in between each barrel. Now we're going to add a further 14 barrels in the shown positions. This is to create the base for each of our log columns. Next, grab some spruce planks and just join up all the barrels to create a 1 block high wall all the way around the base, apart from in the centre of the 3 protruding sections on the front and the 2 sides, to create 3 1 block wide entrances. Now, on top of every single one of the barrels, we're going to add 3 stripped dark oak logs to create our outermost wooden columns. There should be 26 columns altogether. Next, grab some more stripped dark oak logs and add a row of them horizontally on top of the spruce planks you've just placed. Do this all the way around, apart from on the curved shape area at the back of the build like so. Now we're going to use some spruce fence posts and we're just going to place 2 of them on every other horizontal stripped dark oak log like so. Only place 2 sets in the larger gaps in front and the side walls, and 1 set in the rear 2 gaps like shown here. On the rearmost curved area of the structure, we're going to build up the walls with spruce planks up to the same height as the stripped dark oak columns like so, to create this nice semicircle shaped room. Now in the shown positions, 2 blocks diagonally into the centre of the large corners, we're going to build a 10 block high column of stripped dark oak. Do this 4 times in the 4 corners of the main central square. Then we're going to build a further 6 columns of 10 stripped dark oak logs in the shown positions. These columns should be 5 blocks in distance from the columns in each corner that we've built in the previous step. Now, using some deep slate tile stairs, we're going to pop an upside down stair either side of the front entrance like so. Then create a row of right way upstairs all the way around the build at this level, making sure to add those 2 upside down stairs on each of the 2 side entrances as well. I chose to use deep slate for the roof of this build because I thought we needed to break up the dark oak stairs that we've used in the rest of the village, and in all the reference images I used, Stave churches tended to have dark tile like roofs, so I think the deep slate works really well. Once you've gone all the way around, pop a deep slate tile block on top of each of the upside down stairs and then create another row all the way around the build, but this time using full deep slate tile blocks, and this time 1 block further into the centre, on top of the stripped dark oak columns and the fence posts. Remember to add 1 on top of each upside down stair on the 2 side entrances too. On the front entrance, we're going to add 2 deep slate tile stairs facing outwards like so, and then in between them add an upside down stair facing outwards like so to create a sort of archway. Repeat this on the 2 side entrances as well. Next, we're going to grab more deep slate tile stairs and add another row all the way around on top of the full deep slate tile blocks, making sure to join the rows onto the 2 stairs we've placed in the previous step. Then, on the front and 2 side entrances, we're going to add a stair in the shown position and just add a deep slate tile slab behind it. Beautiful. Now add a full deep slate tile block onto the back of that slab and continue to create a row all the way around the build like so. You get the picture now, we're starting to create a sloped roof. And next, you guessed it, we're going to add one last row of deep slate tile stairs all the way around again on top of our full blocks. Now, moving back inside the structure, we're going to add 2 more 10 block high columns of stripped dark oak, build these 5 blocks in from the rearmost high columns in the shown positions. Next, using more stripped dark oak logs, we're going to join each column up by adding a beam all the way around at the same height as our highest deep slate tile stairs on the 8th block up of our stripped dark oak columns. Now, in the gaps that we've made above the front and 2 side entrances, we're going to fill those gaps with spruce planks like shown. Then on the front 2 corners of the little spruce platform, we're going to add 2 columns of 2 stripped dark oak logs, add 2 spruce planks behind each one, and add 3 fence posts in the middle of them. Do this on the 2 side entrances too. Now, using more spruce planks, we're just going to fill in the gaps like so by building a 2 block high wall all the way around. For the interior walls, we're going to fill in the 2 side gaps on each side with spruce planks like shown. And then in the central gap, we're going to add 2 rows of spruce planks at the top, and underneath we'll add a supporting beam with stripped dark oak logs like so to create a nice large doorway. Then we're simply going to repeat this process on the remaining 3 interior walls. Now we're going to create another 4 stripped dark oak columns, this time 17 blocks high. Build these in the shown positions 2 blocks diagonally in from each corner of the central square room. These columns will be the start of our central tower. Now, moving around to the rear part of the church, we're going to build a 2 block high wall of spruce planks all the way around the curve like so. Make sure none of the spruce planks overlap any of the deep slate stairs below. Now, to create the next layer of roofing, we're going to add a row of deep slate tile stairs all the way around, making sure there's an extra one popping out of the front either side of the front and the 2 side windows like so. Next, just repeat the process, but this time with full deep slate tile blocks and one block in towards the centre, just like we did on the lower roof section. Then again with some more deep slate tile stairs. Then, in the centre of the front and two side windows, add an upside down stair like so. Then at the rear of the build, pop a deep slate tile slab above this gap to fill it in. Back to the front and two side windows, we're going to add a right way up stair, followed by a row of 3 slabs to neaten off the ridge of each little roof. Grabbing our full blocks of deep slate tiles again, we're going to create another row all the way around at the same level as the slabs we've just placed, and then finally go back around with another row of deep slate tile stairs like shown to finalise another layer of roof. To fill this little gap in at the back of the church, just add a row of stripped dark oak like so, and then just fill in the remaining space with some spruce planks. Then connect up the large stripped dark oak columns with some more horizontal beams at the same level as the highest deep slate stairs as shown here. We're now going to connect these horizontal beams to the floor by adding some tall columns of stripped dark oak in line with the ones on the interior walls. Add 2 columns on each of the 4 sides of the interior like so. Then, using more spruce planks, just fill in the gaps in between each column with 4 3-block high walls. On the rearmost part of the build, we're going to add a row of 3 slabs like so, add a 3-block high column of stripped dark oak, and then fill in the gaps once again with some spruce planks. Beautiful. Now on the front wall, we're going to add 2-block high row of spruce planks, which is 9 blocks long. Then on top of that, add another 2-block high wall again, this time 7 blocks long. Then on top of that one, repeat the 2-block high wall but only 5 blocks long, and then again but only 3 blocks long. And then finally add 2 blocks on top of each other on the very tip top. Then repeat this shape on the rear side of the central square. To build the main roof, we're just going to add a row of 13 deep slate tile stairs along the side of the wall like so, and then add a row of 13 deep slate tile blocks above it like so. Then just repeat the process till we reach the top. Make sure to add some upside down stairs on the ends of each side of the roof just to neaten the edges up like so. Then, once you've done one side, move over to the other side and do the exact same thing until you have a beautifully formed pointed roof like this one. Then at the top, add an upside down stair in the gap and a right way up one on top of that one like so. Do that on each end and join them up with a row of slabs to create a nice neat ridge. If you're anything like me, double check that you've added those upside down stairs on the edges because I forgot. Back round to the rear of the church, we're going to add 2 blocks of spruce planks and we're just going to simply repeat the roof building process we've just done but on a smaller scale. back up to the main large roof, we're going to find the centre slab and we're going to knock out 5 slabs like so. Then we're going to knock out 3 rows of blocks below this to create this gap in the roof. In the gap we're going to build 4 columns of stripped dark oak, each of them 4 blocks high. Then fill in the front and back gaps up with some spruce planks. Then on the 2 side gaps we're going to add 2 rows of spruce planks, then a row of spruce fence posts, then another row of spruce planks. Do this on both the right and left side of the section. Now on the front and the back walls of the section we're going to add a 2 block high wall of spruce planks 3 blocks long, and then add 2 blocks on top of each other in the centre of each one. Now again grab those deep slate tile blocks and stairs and repeat the roof building process again until we reach the top and we formed a nice neat small roof. Now we've built quite a few roofs now, so it wouldn't surprise me if you were now a roof building professional. Next, make another gap in the centre of this smaller roof, but only 3 blocks wide and 1 block deep. Add another 4 columns of stripped dark oak in each corner, each one 3 blocks high, and fill in the front and back gaps with 3 spruce planks. On the 2 side gaps, add a spruce stair, and then an upside down stair, and then a block like so. We're now going to create a row of deep slate tile stairs all the way around the top of the square we've just built, and then add 4 deep slate tile blocks in the shown positions. Add 4 deep slate slabs in between each one like this, and then add 2 full blocks in the middle. Add 4 stairs like so, and then add another full block on top in the centre like so. Finally add 2 deep slate walls on top of each other like so in the centre to create that lovely little peak. Now on each of the little roofs above the entrance and the windows we're going to add a little upside down stair and then a right way up stair on top of that to create that traditional Viking flair. Do this on all of the ridge edges, there should be 11 in total. Now the church is looking pretty good, but I think we can make it look better by adding some texture to the wooden walls. To do this, just go around the whole building and replace some of the spruce planks with stripped spruce logs and spruce stairs. Finally go around and add some random rows of spruce signs to make it look like some planks are loose, adding age and history to the build. Now we're going to add some age and texture to the roof by going all the way around and replacing random blocks of deep slate tile stairs with some deep slate block stairs. It's quite tedious to do this, but I think you'll really think it's worth it when you've finished. Once you've replaced random stairs in the roof, go around again and do the exact same thing, but this time with the full blocks. Beautiful. Next, for a bit of exterior terraforming, we're just going to go around the base of the church with some various stone blocks, including mossy blocks, and create a rough edge to make it look like the church is built on some rocks, and it really helps the build to fit into the natural surroundings and doesn't just look like it was plonked there. Now it's time to build the pathway up to the church entrance. We're just going to create a more shallow slope down the hillside using some slabs and path blocks to create an easy route to the front door. We're going to take the path all the way down to the main village area and then decorate the path with some shrubbery, add some trees back in and add some lighting with lanterns and candles. Now for the interior. For the ceiling, I'm just going to cover it up with some wooden panelling and then add some candles to light the place up. Candles really add atmosphere and aren't too overpowering like torches or lanterns. We're then going to add some interior balcony and add our signature Viking banners to the walls. We're then going to create an area of worship for our Vikings to pray and speak to Odin and their many other Norse gods. We're going to add more candles for atmosphere and add in some details like barrels and chests. We're also going to texture up the floor a little bit more by adding some path blocks to make it look even more worn down. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our epic Viking Stave Church complete. I'm so pleased with how it's turned out, and I've been so excited to show you guys this build. It's taken so long to make this video, and I'm so pleased you can all finally build it in your Viking villages. The perfect place for our seeds hut would be over here in this wooded area of the village, so it looks a bit magical and a bit mysterious. But first, we're going to clear out a few of these trees so we can actually see what we're doing. Now I know some of you might be thinking, well, what is a seer's hut? Well, a seer is a wise oracle type of Viking that would translate the wishes of the Norse gods and tell curious Vikings their fate when they came to visit him in his seer's hut. If you've watched the series Vikings on Amazon Prime, then you'll know exactly what I mean, but I think it's important that we give our village a spot for a seer to live so our Viking villagers can visit him whenever they need some guidance. So, what will we need to build our seer's hut? So, we're going to need some stripped dark oak logs, some stripped spruce logs, some spruce planks, some spruce slabs, some dark oak planks, stairs and slabs, some spruce trapdoors, dark oak fences, spruce doors, lanterns, candles and some leaves. Not a lot of stuff really, so let's get building. So for this build we're going to need a 9x9 block area. As you can see, mine overlaps the edge of some blocks, but yours doesn't have to. You'll see why shortly. So the first step is to place a stripped dark oak log on each corner of our marked out area like so. Next, add a further 4 stripped dark oak logs in the shown positions. Pause the video if you need to inspect it more carefully. Now we're going to grab some spruce slabs and we're going to fill in the area between our stripped dark oak logs to create a raised platform to build our hut on top of. Next, place a dark oak slab on the front 3 logs and the far right back log like so. On the remaining dark oak stripped logs, place a further 2 stripped dark oak logs on each one and then add another 4 in the shown positions to create 6 columns. Now we're going to simply join up all of the stripped dark oak columns with a 2-block high wall of spruce planks to form the basic shape of our seer's hut. Next, we're going to add a row of 3 spruce planks in the shown front positions and do the same on the back positions as well. Using some more stripped dark oak logs, we're going to join the 2 rows of 3 spruce planks up with a horizontal beam of 11 logs, making sure 2 logs are sticking out on each side. Next, along the left hand side of the beam we've just created, add a row of 9 dark oak stairs and then repeat this 2 more times below, creating a slope forming one side of the roof of our hut. Now, using some dark oak fence posts, we're going to place a row of 5 on the ground with a gap in between each one, then place another row of dark oak stairs on top to complete one side of the roof. Now, to neaten up the underside of the roof a bit, we're going to place some upside down stairs on the ridge. Do this on the front and the back sides of the roof. On the other side of the horizontal beam, we're going to add another row of 9 dark oak stairs, and then below that we're going to add a row of 9 dark oak planks like so. Grab some dark oak slabs next and add 2 rows of 9 next to each other like so to create a steady slope on one side of the hut. Then on the side of the slabs that are showing, we're going to add another row of 9, but this time of dark oak trapdoors to create a bit of an overhang. Next, along the top of our horizontal dark oak beam, we're going to add a row of 9 dark oak slabs, and then we're going to place another slab on every other block to create a crenellated roof look that we've used on most of our other builds in the village. Now, to create that traditional Viking V-shape on the roof, we're going to place 2 upside down stairs, then 2 right way upstairs, then a further 2 upside down stairs like so. Do this on the back side as well. And don't forget to add that upside down stair to neaten up the other side of the roof. Now we're going to add a 2-block hole in the front of the hut and then just pop yourself a nice neat spruce door in the front of the hut like so. Then we're going to pop a hole in the front and the back and add a fence post in each one to create 2 little windows. To create a little step, we're going to place a row of 3 spruce slabs along the front like so. To light up our hut, we're going to hang a nice lantern from the front, and then we're going to texture up the walls by replacing some of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce logs. This just adds some history and a bit of story to the build as well. Out the front of the seer's hut, we're going to extend our path and join up to the main village so our Vikings can visit our wise old seer whenever they want. Now, to add some texture to our little platform, we're going to replace some of the spruce slabs with some spruce trap doors. Next, to make our hut look a bit more old and mysterious, we're going to blend it into the surroundings by adding some leaf blocks on the roof, hanging over the sides to make it look like it's been consumed by the surrounding nature. To add some further detail to our hut, we're going to add some candles for atmosphere and some more foliage and plants around to make it look a bit more suited to the environment. Then we're going to put some trees back where we removed them at the start of the video to make it a bit more mysterious, a bit more magical, and build up the forest around the hut a little bit more. For the interior of the seer's hut, we're going to hang animal skins using banners from the roof, add a campfire, a bed and some more candles. Then we're going to hang some roots from the roof to make it look a bit eerie, and then we're going to add some crystals for our seer to use in his ceremonies and his services when speaking to the Vikings in the village. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, our Viking seer's hut is complete. So to prepare for your mine entrance, you're going to want to find a side of a hill or a cliff and create a flat wall to work on. I'm just clearing out some of these spruce trees first so you can see what we're doing here, but once I've done that, I'm just going to shave away a few layers of the dirt on the front of the cliff to reveal the stone behind it. Your hill or cliff doesn't have to be too big. You can see here we're just using a small hill at the back of the village, and if you need to, just make it slightly taller with some dirt blocks. I'm then going to replace some of the lower dirt blocks with some more stone just because I think it'll look more natural in the final result, but it's completely up to you and what you prefer. Now, once we've cleared out our stone wall, let's see what materials we're going to need to build our Viking mine entrance. So for this build, we're going to need some stripped dark oak logs, some dark oak planks, some dark oak stairs, some barrels, cobblestone, regular stone, stone stairs, some ore blocks, some stone slabs, lanterns, candles, leaf blocks, hanging roots and some campfires. Not a lot really, so let's crack on with the build. So first of all, we're going to want to make a simple 3x3 block hole in our stone wall. Just ignore whatever's behind it for now. Then we're going to grab those stripped dark oak logs and add a column of 3 either side of our hole like so. Next, using more stripped dark oak logs, we're going to add 2 horizontally above each column facing outwards like so, and then add another row of 3 stripped dark oak logs horizontally above the hole like this. Now we're going to replace the bottom 2 stripped dark oak logs with some upright barrels to add a bit more detail. Next, 2 blocks up from the centre of the entrance, we're going to place another 2 stripped dark oak logs coming out of the cliff face like so. Using some dark oak stairs, we're going to place 3 on each side of the log we've just placed in the shown positions to create a triangle shape. We're now going to continue these diagonal lines with 7 more dark oak stairs on each side of the entrance to form an even bigger triangle shape. If the walls of the cliff or the surrounding terrain gets in the way, don't be afraid of removing pieces to make way for the structure. On the very top of the structure, we're going to add a single dark oak plank, and either side add 3 stairs to form that traditional Viking V shape. Now we're going to grab 3 campfires and add them in a row in the shown positions. Don't forget to extinguish the flames with a shovel. Then add a couple of lovely flickering lanterns either side of the entrance so our Vikings can see the mine entrance at night. Then, on the edge of each exposed log edge, we're going to place a dark oak button to make it look like a wooden stake has been driven into it. Now I'm just going to add some texture to the cliff face behind the entrance by replacing some more dirt with stone and then replacing the stone with cobblestone in random places, giving it more of a natural look. We're now going to work on the inside of the mine. I'm going to knock further into the cliff and create a tunnel with stone. In this case, there is a naturally spawning cave to the right hand side of our tunnel, so I'm going to lead the tunnel down to there. Everyone's cave will be different. You may just want to start digging a staircase down, it's completely up to you. I'm now going to create more of a natural cave look in the mine by using various cobblestone and stone blocks to add texture and shape. Add stairs to the roof, slabs to the floor, and just make it look a little bit less uniform. Once you're happy with the inside, do a similar thing to the outside and texture that cliff face up a little bit. Add some natural rocks outside on the ground, and then I'm going to add some hanging roots from the roof of the mine and add a cobweb in there too. Beautiful. Next we're going to texture up the floor a bit by adding some gravel, coarse dirt and one of my favourite blocks, the path block. This just brings the area to life a bit and makes it look like an actual working mine. Now, one of my favourite things to do, as you probably know by now, is add some leaf blocks. Don't go over the top, just enough to set the mine entrance into its surrounding environment. To add more life to the build, we're going to add a small pile of coal or blocks outside, and then on the other side of the entrance we're going to build a little cart. This is optional, but I think it really brings the place to life. Just add 3 slabs in a row, add some trapdoors for wheels, add an open gate on the front and add whatever you want on the back. I'm adding some barrels and a lamp. Pretty simple. Then, finally, we're going to add some extra atmosphere by adding some candles. Then we're going to join the mine entrance up with the rest of the village by extending our pathway. Using path blocks and coarse dirt, our Vikings can finally have access to all the treasures the earth can give. Then, once we've connected up to the village, we're going to pop a couple of those spruce trees that we chopped down at the start of the video. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our Viking mine entrance complete. So we're going to clear out a bit of a larger area to create a sort of cove for our boat builder's house to fit into. Once we've carved out the cliff a bit, we're going to extend the beach to give us a bit more room to work with, and then we're going to texture up those cliff walls slightly with some cobblestone stairs, some regular stone stairs and slabs. So, the idea I have for this build is to create a sort of upside down hull of a ship that may have been washed up years ago that our boat builder has transformed into his house, so hopefully it ends up looking something like that. So, to build our boat builder's house, we're going to need some dark oak planks, some dark oak stairs, some dark oak slabs, some stripped dark oak logs and stripped spruce logs, some spruce planks, a spruce door, some dark oak gates, spruce and dark oak trapdoors, dark oak fences and some lanterns. So, let's get cracking onto the build. So for this build we're going to need an 11 by 15 block space, so clear out plenty of room. So first of all, we're going to add a row of 10 dark oak planks up each side of the marked out area, starting from the front like so. Then, on top of the 10 dark oak planks, we're going to place a row of 9 dark oak stairs facing outwards, again starting from the front of the build. So we're going to begin making the arch to create our upside down ship by adding an upside down stair and a right way up stair on top. Do this on both sides of the front side of the build. Next, on both sides again, we're going to place an upside down stair, but this time add a slab on top like so. Next, add a slab, then another slab on top each side, and then repeat another 3 times until they meet in the middle to form a sort of archway. Then we're going to extend each of the blocks in the arch by 8 blocks towards the back to form that curved roof, creating the hull of our upturned ship. Next, at the rear of the build, we're going to place 6 dark oak planks in the shown positions. Then a further 4 next to them like so. Now create 2 L shapes facing in on each other using 6 dark oak planks, and then add a final plank in the middle like this. Next, we're going to grab some dark oak stairs and we're going to go around the blocks that we've just placed, placing a stair on top of each one, making sure they join up. Add a single one on its own on the rearmost dark oak plank. Next, place 2 dark oak planks in the shown positions under the rear part of the roof. Then, starting from the block we've just placed, create another curved row of stairs on each side, but leaving a gap in the middle. Then we're going to place 2 dark oak slabs in the shown positions and then join them up with another curve of slabs this time. Then place a further 4 slabs on top like so to create the rear slope of our whole ship roof. Now in the upper gap we're going to add 2 more slabs, then add 3 full dark oak planks in the remaining gap like so. Then, to complete the curve of our upturned boat, we're going to place 2 final slabs in the shown positions. Now back round the front of the boat builder's house, and we're going to place 2 columns of 3 stripped dark oak logs in the shown positions, and then simply fill in the spaces around them with some spruce planks to form that front wall. Next, we're going to knock 2 holes in the centre for a doorway and then add another hole on each side for a small 1-block window. Above the door, we're going to add 2 horizontal stripped dark oak logs to form a supporting beam. Then in each window hole we're going to place a dark oak fence, and then on the front of each one pop an open dark oak gate, and then place a trapdoor underneath to form a sort of shutter. Then we're going to dig up all the sand on the inside of the house, and we're going to place down a floor of dark oak planks like so. Now we can pop ourselves a lovely little spruce door in our central gap. Beautiful. We're now going to texture up the front of our boat builder's house a bit by swapping some of the spruce planks with some stripped spruce logs. This just adds a bit more interest to the front of the build. Now we're just going to pop a lantern hanging from the front of the house, and then we can simply remove our red and white concrete guidelines from the front as well and fill in the gaps with sand. We're then going to texture up the roof a bit by swapping out just a few of the slabs on the roof with some dark oak trapdoors to create a couple of holes and texture in the hull of our upturned ship. Then we can go back round the back of the house and we can finally remove the remaining guidelines that we placed for ourselves at the start of the video. Now back round the front, we're going to add a bit of path block to the outside of the front door to add a bit of texture to the ground. Now this bit is totally optional, as you may have more space in your world than I do, but we're going to form a sort of wooden platform at the front of the house so our boat builder has more room to actually build his boats. Then we're going to texture it up with some trap doors. We can now add a log pile to the side of the house where our boat builder stores his freshly chopped spruce trees. Then we can create an area on the work platform where he will strip and treat the logs into planks to build his Viking ships with. We're then going to add some various details around the place, like some barrels, chests, stone cutters and extinguished campfires to add some life to the place. To the left hand side of the house, we're going to form a little area where the boats are actually constructed. We've got a line of logs with a half-built boat on top of it, and then we'll add some finishing touches like some bushes and path blocks to complete the look of the area. For the interior, we're going to keep it fairly simple by adding a bed, some hanging animal hides, some barrels and some chests, and a few candles to give the place a bit of atmosphere. Finally, we're going to pop a couple of dead corals on the roof of the build, which would have grown on the underside of the boat when it was in action many years ago. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, our Viking boat builder's house is complete. So we're just going to pluck a few of these spruce trees out of the area and then just fill in this rather large ravine that's situated at the back of the village to make way for our gatehouse and wall. I've been watching the new Viking series on Netflix called Valhalla. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. It's really good, probably just as good as the original series, and it's given me lots of inspiration for the village, and I'm loosely basing the gatehouse on the gate to Kattegat in the series. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. I highly recommend it. So here you can see me flattening around the area. It's looking a bit bland at the minute, but don't worry, we'll add some trees back later on and texture up the floor as well. I think building the wall around the village will let us know how much space in the village we have left to fill, so we have a rough idea of when the series will sadly come to an end. So let's check out what materials we're going to need to build our gatehouse and wall. So for this build, we're going to need to gather some cobblestone, some regular stone, some cobble and regular stone slabs, some dark oak logs, some stripped dark oak logs, some stripped spruce logs, some spruce planks, spruce stairs, dark oak slabs, dark oak fences, spruce trapdoors, chains, lanterns, chiseled stone blocks, campfires and some ladders. So let's crack on with the build. So for our layout, we're going to need to create two 5x5 squares shown here in the red and yellow blocks, with a 13 block space between them shown here with the blue and white blocks. So first of all, we're going to fill the 5x5 block areas with some cobblestone and then texture it up by replacing some of the cobble with some regular stone like so. And then in most of the steps we're going to be doing the exact same thing on the other square to create a mirror image. Now we're going to knock out each corner block of our stone square base, and in each corner we're going to build up a 15 block high column of stripped dark oak logs. And then, like I said before, we're going to create a mirror image to just repeat the process on the other square as well. Then you should be left with something that looks a little like this and forming the main structure of our two towers of the gatehouse. Next, on the 6th stripped dark oak log up, we're going to create a crossbeam all the way around like so, connecting the vertical columns to form a square, and then add an extra block on the outside poking out of each crossbeam like so. We're then going to do the exact same thing, but this time on the 11th stripped dark log up, and then repeat the whole process on the opposite tower. Now we're simply going to grab some spruce planks and fill in the walls of the two towers up to the point of the highest crossbeam that we've just placed in the previous step. And at this point it's looking a bit plain, but don't worry, we're going to fix that shortly by adding some texture and some depth to the walls. In the upper sections of the towers, we're going to knock a 2-block hole in the front and the back of each tower to form 4 windows, and then a further 2 holes in the back of each tower to form 2 doorways. Now in each window we're just going to pop 2 dark oak fences and add a couple of spruce doors in the bottom. Beautiful. Now to make those plain walls look a bit more interesting, we're going to replace some of the spruce planks with some horizontal stripped spruce logs this time, and some spruce stairs to give some texture and make it look like it's seen some action over the many years that it's stood here. Do this all the way around each tower, but be careful not to overdo it. Now on each of our 2 towers we're going to place 3 upside down dark oak stairs in the shown positions and place a spruce trapdoor either side like so. Do this on the other tower as well, but make sure that the side facing the other tower is the one that you leave blank. Now on the left and right sides of the tower we're going to place a row of 7 dark oak stairs like so, and then add another row above it to create the bottom of the roof. Do this on the other side too, and then place 2 upside down stairs underneath each end to neaten them up like so. Then on each side we're going to add another row of 7 dark oak stairs above the previous rows. Next we're going to place a row of 9 horizontal stripped dark oak logs in between the stairs like so. Then we're going to repeat the whole process on the other tower to form the main roof structures of our Viking gatehouse. Now along the top of each stripped dark oak log we're going to add a row of 7 dark oak slabs and then add another slab on every other block to form the usual crenellated look. Again repeat this on both towers. Now to create that traditional Viking V shape that we've been using the rest of our builds, add 2 upside down stairs on the end of each roof, followed by 2 right way upstairs and a further 2 upside down ones. Then you guessed it, repeat it on the other tower. Grab some dark oak slabs next and fill in the floor to each tower to create a platform for our Vikings to stand and guard the village from. Now on the 3 sides of our tower with the trapdoors we're going to add a row of 5 fence posts followed by an extra 2 on top of each end post like so. Repeat this on every side apart from the side facing the other tower. On this side simply place 3 dark oak fence posts running up the side of the dark oak strip logs like so. Repeat this on the other tower as well. We're now going to form a central walkway bridge by joining up the 2 towers with 2 horizontal beams of stripped dark oak logs like so. We're then going to find the middle and add another 5 horizontal stripped dark oak logs going the other way like this. Now we're going to grab some dark oak slabs and we're going to fill in the gaps to form a walkway, then add a row of fence posts on each side between the 2 towers for the archers and more guards to stand and keep watch over the outskirts of the village. To support the bridge, we're going to add some supports using 5 dark oak stairs in the shown positions. Do this 4 times, 2 at each end of the walkway. Next, we're simply going to add a few stone slabs at the entrance to each tower so our Vikings don't have to climb up to the doorway. Now inside each tower we're going to add a ladder up to the top, pop a little hole in the ceiling, and then if you want you can build a second floor in the middle of the tower as well. Now, so the Vikings on guard can stay warm, we're going to add a chiselled stone block in the middle of each tower and pop a fire on it as well. Now we're going to build a bit of a wall in between the towers by building 3 columns of stripped dark oak logs, all different heights. Do this along our blue and white line, and then we're going to remove some of the bottom logs and replace them with some regular dark oak logs. Then do the same on the other side, creating a nice worn log look for our wall. Now we're going to add a dark oak fence on the second block up like so, and then on the fifth block up to form some hinges. Now at a right angle to our walls, we're going to do the same thing attached to our hinges to give the illusion of an open gate. Again, replace the lower logs with the regular unstripped logs, and remember to make them all different heights. Now we're going to illuminate our gate entrance by hanging a couple of chains and a lantern from the centre of our bridge. Now, so that any visitors or enemies know where they are, we're going to hang a few of our signature village banners from the gatehouse, which really brings the build together. Next, we're going to texture up the floor by creating a warm pathway through the centre of the gate. We can then add some stone steps to the steeper parts of the terrain and connect the outside world up with our internal village walkways. Now for the rest of our village wall. We're just going to repeat the pattern with our dark oak stripped logs, with the unstripped base coming from the side of our tower and connecting to this hill over here. Make sure you build it high enough so enemies can't just jump over the wall. Then again on the other side, marking out the perimeter of the village. In this case we're going to snake it through the trees towards the coastline, giving it a bit of shape and not just building it in a straight line. Once we get to the coastline, we're going to gradually make the wall lower, and maybe in the future we can build another watchtower on the end of it. Finally, we're going to add some external details by decorating our walls and towers with some leaf blocks, some foliage, ferns and berry bushes. We're going to add a few barrels and chests for some storage, add some more little walkways, and then build up piles of snow in the corners to finalise our Viking gatehouse and walls. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our Viking village gatehouse and walls complete. I hope you enjoyed the build. I definitely think it's one of my favourite builds in the village. It really brings the place together. If you liked the build, then let me know down below what you thought of it, and don't forget to send me your screenshots of your Viking villages over on Twitter. I love seeing my subscribers' worlds. So if you want to see more tutorials like this, guys, then don't forget to subscribe. Keep an eye out for the next ancient Greek city tutorial as well, coming out soon. Thank you so much for all the support on the first one. It's really appreciated. You're all the absolute best. And don't forget to join the whale watching community over on Discord too. There's some lovely people over there. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Tatty bye. And there you have it, a complete snowy Viking village from start to finish. I really hope this guide helps you to create your very own Nordic kingdom. If you've enjoyed this series and want to take your support for the Walking World to the next level, I've recently launched a channel memberships right here on YouTube. By joining, you'll get access to exclusive badges and emojis to use in comments and during my live streams. And for those of you who want to explore this exact village for yourselves, you can head over to my Patreon. Supporters there get access to world downloads for this Viking village, schematics and all my other builds, so you can jump right in and see how everything was put together block by block. Whether you're a member, a patron, or just someone who watched this video to the very end, thank you so much for being part of this journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Tatty bye.